right. I think we're ready. All right. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Soul Commodore. Just close this door a little bit. I'm Soul Commodore, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. As you know, the last couple of streams we've been working on this painting over here. All nice. But today we're actually going to stretch a canvas on this stretcher bar here. That is, try not to knock anything down. Yeah, we're going to be using this stretcher here that is 6 feet by 4 feet. Now, we're not actually going to be stretching this particular painting because I went to go buy the wood for it and remembered that I was going to need 6-foot pieces of pine, and the only way I can do that is to actually like put the seats down in my back seat and then feed them through the trunk. But I have winter tires in my back seat. So instead, we're going to stretch a brand new piece of canvas on this stretcher bar. This isn't too heavy because it's just made out of 1x2 pine, but it is sturdy. It's not going to torque or anything. And it's unfortunate because if I had the pieces of wood that I was going to use to stretch the painting that we had been doing, I was going to show you how I actually like build these things, but that'll have to wait for another time. For now, we are going to go through how to stretch a painting on a canvas like this. So the first thing you need, where can I put this where it'll be kind of out of the way? There we go. First thing you're going to need is a staple gun, and you're going to need some floor space and some muscles. And I think you may not have a staple gun, but I think most of us have floor space and muscles. And if you don't have floor space for something quite this big, hopefully you have floor space for something smaller, because most paintings aren't 6x4. So another thing we need is the actual thing we're stretching. And today I'm using this roll of canvas here. This is, I believe, the original was 6 yards by 64 inches. So, yeah, this is what we're going to be using. And basically, we're just going to lay this out on the floor, and then we're going to cut to the length that we need. We're going to put the bar on top of it, the stretcher bar on top of it, and then we will get to stretching. So, I'm just going to make sure that we have enough room here. In the meantime, how's everybody's evening going? Hope you all had a very nice and productive Tuesday. Productive in your own way. There we go. And I'm gonna really... There we go. I'm gonna really close that door that sticks because staple guns are loud. And that reminds me, if you are using the staple gun inside, you're going to want some sort of hearing protection. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, anything from earplugs to, I'm using my earbud headphones, because the noise is going to be loud and it's going to reverberate and it's not going to be too pleasant to listen to. Your ears are going to be ringing after. Okay, so first things first, because I think we have enough space on the floor now, is I'm going to bring you down a level so that you can actually see what's going on. Now, logistically, where would be the best place to do this? I think if I put you on this wall over here, facing this way, because you can see the painting, that would probably be better. So I'm just going to very quickly put up the Be Right Back page, and then when you come back, you'll be in a different spot, and we'll go through the entire process of stretching a canvas, particularly a large canvas. So I will be right back while I configure this. So just hold tight. Should be back. All right, so hopefully this will be enough space. So we will grab our canvas. Now, you might be wondering why I have a canvas roll instead of like a pre-stretched canvas, especially for something this large. Well, actually, for doing a work as large as this, I think it's actually more economical to buy a roll of canvas and buy your own wood and build it that way, because a 6x4 canvas, you're gonna have to get that custom made. And I was at, I think it was Curry's art store, and there, like a 3x3.5 canvas or something like that was like $120, right? Which is, you know, a fair price, but also like that's a lot of money. This roll of canvas, while it is expensive up front, if you can afford it, it's worth investing in, because this is going to get a lot of paintings out, and especially if you want to do big paintings, it's going to get a lot of paintings out. So the total cost for this, like the wood that I bought for this canvas is probably like $25, and then it's going to be about $30 worth of canvas roll. So, you know, you're looking at hundreds of dollars getting this custom made versus 50 making it yourself. Unfortunately, art isn't the most it isn't the cheapest thing in the world, unfortunately, but you know, building your own canvases, I think, is actually a better move economically. So what we're going to want to do is that if you get pre-gessoed canvas like this is, you're going to have the white side that you actually paint on, and then you're going to have the raw canvas side, right? So to stretch, we're going to want to have the gessoed side down. And gesso is basically just like the white primer that they put on canvas. It makes it a little easier to paint on, because raw canvas will actually like soak up paint, so you have to use a lot more paint. You can of course paint on raw canvas, and there are plenty of artists who do, but I much prefer gessoed canvas. So I'm going to roll this out. Just like so. Hopefully we get right around 6 feet out. Another thing you're going to want when you're doing this is some like loose fitting clothes, or like workout clothes, or something comfortable, because you're going to be getting up and down a lot. So you see here our floor is basically covered in canvas. Excuse our recycling there. But yeah, our floor is covered in canvas now. And it's the raw canvas side down. Or the raw canvas side up, I should say. So, next is we actually lay down our stretcher bars. Right? Just like so. And you can see that our stretcher bar is actually, let me turn this light off here. It's a little bright. Does that help out a little? Helps out a little. Anyway, our stretcher bar here looks like it's actually kind of swimming on this canvas. So we're going to get some scissors, and we're actually going to trim this up so that we yeah, brighter than the surface. Yeah, it's, I don't know why it was so bright in here. So yeah, we're gonna trim this so that it's just slightly bigger than the canvas itself. You want probably like a good 2 to 3 inches of extra canvas on the outside of the frame of your painting, because that's going to give you something to grip onto when we actually start stretching. So let me grab my scissors, and we're just going to trim this up. But how's it going, Jake from the Woods? The nice thing about cutting canvas is the scissors just kind of slide across it. Nice and easy like that. So, with that out of the way, we will roll up the rest of this and get it out of the way. Nice, nice. Did you stream today? I haven't been on my computer much today. I've been running around doing a bunch of other stuff. And if you did stream, how did the stream go? Yep. This extra canvas, you can hold on to it. You can make some fun stuff out of it. I'll probably keep it for, I don't know. I'll figure something out. Okay. So, I'll just pick up the camera again and show you. So now we've got a nice bit of framing for our, you see here in terms of the space, like we've got a good couple of inches on the outside, which is what you want. Now, I'm going to see if I can find a way to kind of dim this light a little bit so you can see a little better. It's nice that this room is very bright, but it's also not so nice that this room is so bright. I mean, that works a little bit better. Grab some pins. Once again, we're, because I've never shown how to do this on camera before, we're just kind of figuring this out as we go. So, bear the technical glitches as we stumble through this together. There we go. How's it? Yeah, that is much better. Now you can actually see what's going on. All right. So, we've got our cams out. So, what you want to do first is you want to grab your ear protection, whatever that may be. Like I said, I'm just grabbing my favorite pair of earbuds because they fit right in my ear. And you're going to want to go to the center of your canvas. Now, this is whether you've got a giant canvas or a small one. You want to go to the center of the long side. Now, if you've got a square canvas, then it doesn't matter, okay? Or if you've got like an octagonal canvas where all the sides are the same length, it doesn't matter which side you start with. But if you've got a rectangle or one side that's clearly longer than the other, you're going to want to start on the long side and get right in the middle, right? And this first side we're actually not putting a lot of tension on. We're just kind of folding it over. And we're going to put in our ear protection. Just like so. And we are going to just lay down a staple in the middle. Now you can use tacks, like little tiny tacks. That's actually the pretty traditional way of stretching a canvas, but it takes so much longer and I don't particularly like using them. Staple gun is much better. And now you go to the exact opposite side, and this is where you're actually going to apply tension, right? So you're going to really, really grab a hold of this and really stretch it, right? And then you're going to, as you can see, there's like a ridge here in the center of the canvas now. And you're going to lay down a staple right behind that tension. So now we've got a lot of tension across. Now there are actual canvas pliers that you can get so that you don't have to use your hands, and because this is going to hurt your hands after a while. But I'm not against using them. I just prefer to use my hands because I can gauge the tension a little bit better just using my hands. So now we come across to the other side. Because now we're going to do the opposite sides. And same thing, I'm going to grab a lot of tension and lay down a staple. And as you can see, I don't know if it's showing up on camera all that well, but you can start to see there's like a diamond shape forming because the tension is pulling from those two sides and here. And when we do the other side, it'll be a nice diamond shape, which is what you want, because it means that all the tension is pulling from the center of the canvas, okay? You don't want to start stapling in a corner, because all the tension will be in that corner and you'll end up with a wrinkle that no matter what, you'll never be able to get rid of, okay? So don't start stapling in the corners. Start from opposite ends of the long side and then the opposing ends, right? And don't go like from here to here to here to here in a clockwise or counterclockwise. No, always do the opposite side, okay? So with that, we're gonna come over to this opposite side. And again, we're gonna grab it and pull as much as we can, just like so, and lay it down like that. So that's the first little bit done, right? Now, the key to getting a canvas that doesn't have any wrinkles in it is equal tension, right? So, what I usually do with a canvas this big, if it's a smaller canvas, it doesn't really matter, right? If your canvas is 2 feet by 2 feet, you can completely staple one side and then completely staple the opposite side and then move on to the perpendicular sides, okay? But with a canvas this big, that's not going to work all that well, because there's going to be a lot of tension on one side and not as much on the other, and it's too far a space. So you'll see the 2 support bars that I have in the middle. I'm basically going to staple to the right side and to the left side up to these tension bars, right? Up to these support bars, I should say. And then we're going to do the opposite side, right and left side, okay? And then we're going to do about the same distance on the 2 ends, okay? So you're just going to have to gauge that visually if you've got a canvas like mine, all right? And this is where, if you're not using a canvas plier, you're going to get a really good grip strength workout, okay? So, and in terms of distance between the two, a good rule of thumb is about 2 inches distance between the two staples. Like 2 inches of distance between each staple. If you're in metric, what is that? It's like 8 or 9 centimeters, I guess. But that'll give you a good equal amount of tension. You don't want them too far away, okay? Because then there's a lot of room for slack. Okay, so just grab and pull, just like so. And we just continue working our way down. Then I'm going to put one right where this bar is. Don't staple right on the joint, but I just stapled just above the joint, okay? And now we will do this side. Just pulling as much of it as you can. There's a couple of different methods to actual pulling. There's some people who use their knuckles as a brace to like really grab on and come over. I don't do that because it's really rough on your knuckles. But then we just pull. Get a nice stretch. And this is why you want to try and have as much extra as you can without being like too over, because you're gonna have to trim this later. But it gives you a lot more to hold on to. Okay, so that's the one side. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. All right. Come over here. You can also, like, if you have, there's some people who have like carpet or like felt, a felt roll that they put down on the other side of this canvas that you roll down. You can do that. There's nothing on this, so I'm not too worried. And it's hardwood floor, so any dust or anything that comes on, we're just gonna brush off with a dry brush. Yeah, but I mean, that's another extra step that you could do if you want to make sure that there's no like debris or anything getting on your canvas, especially if you're stretching a canvas that has already been painted on, because that's actually typically how I do things. Is I'll paint on the wall first, and then I'll stretch the canvas later. Not too uncommon from what art conservatives do. Art conservators. That's what they do. They'll remove a painting from a stretcher, and then they'll work on it however they need to, and then they'll re-stretch it. So it's not too different from that. All right, but enough blathering. We're on this side now, and again, on that side we started with the right side and then went to the left side, so we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, just to make sure that that tension is even. Go. And now on the left side, same process, just grabbing as much of the canvas as we can, stretching it around. Cool. So, with that, now we're going to move to the side edges. Right? Because, again, these sides are much longer than the edges, so we don't want to go all the way down because that's going to alter the tension and is not going to give us what we want. So, we're basically just going to go from here to here on here. Basically matching the same distance that we just stapled on the long edges. So, and if you're like me, you're just going to give your thumb a break because it's tough work. Again, you probably don't want to do this wearing like a heavy cardigan sweater and some really heavy like jeans or anything, because it's not the hardest work, obviously. It's not like a true workout, but like you're gonna be sweating because you're using a lot of strength to like pull this canvas, and yeah, you just want to be as comfortable as possible, you know. All right. Also, if you're like me and you're starting to get old, it's also not a bad idea, since you're going to be down on your knees, to have some sort of support under your knees, like knee pads or a nice fluffy pillow. So, again, just like the other edges, we're starting on the right side first. You can also start on the left side first if you want. Just keep it consistent with all the sides that you're doing. Okay? So here, again, we're just going to do 3 or 4 staples down. And you'll notice that when you're doing this right, these diamond shapes are going to get a little bit more pronounced, and they're going to start moving to wherever your last staple was, right? That's a sign that you're doing it right. And that you're actually evening out the tension enough. Now, some of you might have seen there are some paintings where these staples are actually on the edges, like the outside edges, like right here, right? As opposed to on the back. That really just comes down to preference. Personally, I like the staples being on the back because I like nothing but paint to be on the side edges. But if you don't particularly care, you can also staple right on the edge, and that actually gives you an advantage on a smaller painting, even on a painting like this actually, because what you could do is you can actually pull down, right, and let gravity do most of the pulling for you to stretch it out, right? Like this right here, I'm just pulling down on the back as opposed to having to pull this way, right? So you can staple on the edges if you like. You can also staple on the back that way. It's just a little harder. And also, with a canvas this big, it's a little tougher to control, right? So, now we'll do the left side. And again, just 3 or 4 staples. Putting as much tension and pressure as possible. Just like so. And you'll see, again, that diamond shape moved out. So now we'll move over to the other side. And again, starting on the right side. Also be prepared to make a bunch of funny faces while you're doing this. And some funny noises. That is a thing that will happen. Also, if you feel like you haven't stretched enough, or it's not going quite the way you want it to, you can get a pair of like needle nose pliers or a staple remover, and take the staples out and then just do it again. Same if you're using like tacks, you can like just use the butt end of a hammer to take the tacks out, you know. And just kind of go at your own pace, you know. It's not a race. So I'm just going to check something out here. Just make sure we're on the right path. just kind of shuffle it over here to get my staple gun. And we're just gonna continue on our way. Now we're gonna go down to the corner. So we're basically going down from here down to the corner. Trying to keep the spacing as equal as possible as we're moving down. Okay. Just kind of feeling the edge here to see if you've got any ridging going on. And there's a little bit. Fix that. Now, where does it start? We'll fix that later, I think. Now, it has been quite a long time since I've stretched a canvas this large. So I'll be able to show you guys in a little bit what happens if you're out of practice and it doesn't go quite the way you want it to, and how to rectify it. Again, right at the edge. To the other side, and we do the same thing. Come over to this left side. All right. So, there we have the two sides done, the long sides. And now we're going to move on to the edges, but I am going to give my hand just a quick break. See, if you're really pulling, like your thumb will be pretty red and achy, but that's all part of it. But if you don't want to have that sensation, that's where you get a pair of canvas pliers, and then you don't got to worry about it. Like I said, for me personally, I find that I don't get a good enough gauge with canvas pliers to actually gauge how tight the tension is. I much prefer just using my hands. Even though sometimes it doesn't go quite right, I still prefer to have that like tactile feeling with my hands. Okay, so you'll notice here that for the corners, we stapled all the way to the edge on the long sides, on both ends. Okay, so we're not going to staple all the way into the corner on the edges. We're going to stop a couple of inches from the corner, right? And I'll show you why in just a second. Once we get these stapled down. Okay. So again, keeping with routine. The nice thing about starting with the long edge too is that your hands have to suffer through less when you do the short edges. which is nice. So here we go. And like I said, we're going to stop a couple of inches from the actual corner, and that will be very important for actually folding the corner over. Okay? So now we do the same thing on this side. Here's another very important tip. Along with the staple gun, you're going to want to make sure that you have enough staples. Now I have plenty of staples, so I'll be right back because I, genius that I am, forgot to grab the extra staples. So I will be right back. Here we go. Extra staples. So that door bangs like that because basically we live in a basement apartment and they had to cut all of the doors shorter, right? Because it's only like a 7-foot roof in some places, 8 feet in some places, but mostly 7 feet. So they had to cut all the doors. Well, the facing on both sides of this door are starting to come off of the frame. So it catches, and that's why it bangs like that. And I've tried to fix it with wood glue and super glue, and there's nothing really to nail it into anymore. So I think this door is just going to stay stuck, basically. There we go. Now we actually have a staple. How are we looking? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna move over to this side. I'll try to move out of the way here. Staying a couple of inches away from the edge because we're going to fold that over. So now we've got the corners, okay? Now there are a number of ways to actually fold corners over on a canvas. I would say there's no real rule of thumb as to how to do it, at least as far as I know. So I'm just going to teach you the method that I was taught, okay? So, what would be the easiest way to show this? So that's not too bad. I'm just sort of doing a practice one to make sure that I can show this in a good way. Okay. Alright, so I'll try to shift this further or closer. So you've got your corner, right? You got your edge that is completely stapled to the side, and you got another edge that has more leeway to it. It's not completely stapled down, right? So what I've always been taught is that you kind of bunch this together, like right here, and then you make like a little triangle on the very corner, right? So you have your two edges like that. Then you just kind of fold it over like that, and it makes a little triangle on the corner, and then you've got a nice straight edge that you can staple right here, okay? So I'll show you again. So you got your nice open corner here. This edge isn't stapled all the way to the corner. This edge is, okay? Stapled right here. So you find the center point right at the corner, right that. You fold it up. You fold it over to get that little nice triangle shape on the very corner. And then you fold it down so you get a nice straight edge right here on this edge of the canvas, just like so. And then you just staple that down. Just like that. Now, like I've said, there are many different schools of thought. There are many different methods to actually folding over the corners of a canvas. It really just comes down to what your preference is. There are some people who do an inside fold, so you don't actually see that edge of the corner right there. It's actually inside, right? So you see the ridge, but you don't see this like
really drastic edge. And again, that just comes down to personal preference. Me, I've never really cared all that much. Some people find that method to be a little bit more professional looking. Again, me, it doesn't really bother me. So, we can do the same thing here. So again, we have our corner, right? And then we just fold it over like so. So now we've got the nice edge right there, and a nice straight edge coming down the canvas that way. So I'll show you one more time. You're standing it up like that, and then you fold it over, right? That's going to give you that nice corner edge, and then you kind of fold it back like that to get the straight edge down here. And then you just staple it in place. There we go. And then we just do the same thing on the other side. So, actually I'll just flip this around and then do these other two edges, corners on this side as well. Ooh. So again, get our corner together, like so, and fold it over, like that, and then back, just like that. Yes, indeed. Right there to just make sure that it's all the way down. And same thing here. Once again, you got your corner here. Pull up. You get that fold there, that little triangle, and back, just like that. Gives you a nice straight corner. Now, if you're anything like me, it's actually kind of hard to get the knack of folding corners over just by someone telling it to you. It's sort of like parallel parking, actually. It's sort of like parallel parking or driving a stick shift. You kind of have to do it in order to like really get it, instead of just having it told to you. Not even just stick shift, just driving. Like you just kind of have to practice driving in order to get comfortable with it. So, you know, that's what these corners are like. Just takes some practice, some getting used to. Now, there are a couple of elements that can come in when you're stretching a canvas that can lead to a canvas like we have. Like, you use as much tension as you can, but for some reason or another, you've still got a lot of ridges, right? Like you can see it's like very wrinkled along here, all over the place. And one thing that can cause that, because our tension actually isn't too bad, right? But one thing that can cause this is the amount of humidity or lack thereof in your particular dwelling, like wherever you're living. So the fact that it's this wrinkled, but I put as much tension as I wanted, means that this canvas is just very loose to begin with. So what you can do actually, because canvas is very pliable, it's very flexible, it's what makes it so great to work with. What you can do is you can grab a spray bottle, right? And on the back side of the canvas, spray it, and then either set it out to dry, you can lay it down and lay weights on it, or what else you can do is you can grab like a blow dryer and blow dry the canvas, and that will get rid of these wrinkles. Because what it'll do is it'll tighten up the canvas. So I won't I won't bring out the blow dryer to do that, because you're gonna want to get it fairly. You don't want it soaking wet, because soaking up too much water will not be great for the canvas. But if you just spray it with just a spritz of water, like that should be good enough, and then you blow dry it. But that's going to take a good while, right? And we've already been at this for an hour. So instead, I'll show you what that spraying looks like, and then I won't blow dry it, because, you know, that'll take too long. And then we'll get started on another painting, right? So I'll go get the spray bottle, I'll do that, and then we'll take a quick break while I get everything coordinated to start a new painting. All right? So I'll be right back. There we go. I got too confident in my skills, which is why I didn't have the spray bottle with me. So I'll turn this around, and basically wherever you see there being big wrinkles or whatever, you just want to spray that with water. And again, you don't want to soak it, so just try to get this excess canvas out of the way. And once you're done, you can trim all this off. However, you want to be wary of doing that, because if you run into a situation where I have before, where you actually have to take out all the staples and re-stretch the canvas just because you can't rectify what you did, you want to try and have as much extra canvas as you can so that you can pull it the next time that you stretch it. You trim all this off and then you have to re-stretch it, that's going to be a lot harder on your fingers, right? So I'm just going to spray, just like so, focusing primarily on the edges. And you can even like sort of push the canvas out a bit and get in behind, right? And you'll know that you sprayed too much water, and you might want to like dab it up with a cloth or something if the water starts to bead on the canvas. That's when you know you've sprayed too much. And just getting up in the corners here. Which I know that from experience, because, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've never done that before, because I most definitely have. You know, I certainly am not a perfect artist. I've certainly made my fair share of mistakes. I'm not infallible. If I were infallible, this would have gone perfectly the first time. So, we'll just leave that over here to dry. Alright? And hopefully, by the end of our session here, it will have started to tighten up a little bit as that water dries. Hopefully. It may, or it may not. You know, it's all part of the experience. So, we'll just leave that. We'll set it to dry. And now I will put up my be back soon screen while I take this painting down, and we will put up a new painting of some kind. Yeah. So, I will be right back. Hold tight, and we'll get situated, and we will start on another painting right after this quick little break. All right? So, go grab some water or some snacks or whatever you want to do, and I will be right back. We're not actually quite back, but I figured you guys might want to see this actually. So we have our painting that we were doing. It's off the wall now. Basically, I'll just show you how to roll this up because you can't actually roll up completed paintings. This is actually how a lot of paintings get shipped because it can be very costly to ship a stretcher frame, right? But basically, you just roll it. Just like anything else, you know, try to keep it consistent on both sides. Just take your time. And it just rolls up very nicely. When you unroll it, you might again have to like take a dry brush, even like a makeup brush or something, or a broom or something, and then just dust off any particles that might be on it, like dust or anything, fuzzies. It is a good idea to try and have like a clean surface when you're doing this, but I didn't. So, but yeah, that's how you roll up a completed painting, and it's not going to hurt the painting at all. Restretching it isn't going to hurt the painting, especially with acrylic paint because it is so pliable. Like, you're not going to hurt the painting at all when you finally go to stretch this, or if you go to restretch it. Yeah, and then this is much easier to transport than a big old canvas like that. Okay? So now we will get the new painting up, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I gotta unpin our little light guard here. Pins. And now here's our painting. Now, this isn't new in that I've already painted on this. But what this was a failed experiment. So we're going to pin this back up, and we're going to do something with it. I'm not quite sure what yet, but we're going to do something with it. So let me move you guys back up, actually. Here, I'll lay this down first. And I will move the camera back up. Get a nice view of our blank wall there. Actually, that's my hand. So. So you have a nice view of the wall. And we will just hang this up. So this painting, when it's done, when we decide what we're doing with it, will be, will end up being 3 by 3, 3 feet by 3 feet when we're all finished with it. Where did my other pins go? There they are. You know, this is kind of why I like doing this on Twitch, because if this was YouTube, I would edit all this out, you know? But no. We're not editing this out. Okay. Just trying to get some of the wrinkles out, and we will move this computer back up. Move this chair out of the way, move the rug out of the way. And we'll back you up. There we go. All right. And this light is making things very bright today. I don't know why. Okay, so here is our painting. I'm actually going to move this down a little bit. There we go. Move it to here. There we go. All right, so this was a failed experiment. I was trying to go for kind of like a double exposure look where there was like an image being overlapped by another image. I don't think it worked out all that well. So we're going to try something new with it, which the first thing to do actually is to paint over it. So we will grab our paints. So we have our handy dandy palette here. And there's so much white on this canvas already. I think it's our best bet to actually paint over it with some white. So we've got our white paint here. just squeeze that on there. Just have to decide what it is that we want to do with this painting. So, just gonna go grab my brush. Our big brush. And maybe we do some sort of sky. Yet again, maybe a blue sky. So get a little bit of blue and a lot of white. And we will just start to make our way over this. And this first layer isn't going to be perfect because the painting underneath is so much darker. We're going to get a lot of it actually bleeding through, as you can see there. That's okay, it just means we do a couple of coats of this new background. In case you were wondering, this is how you erase paint, basically. You just wait for it to dry, and then you paint over it. Pretty simple. Okay, we're gonna need some more white paint. I think for the next session, we're actually going to move back into our original painting space because the light is a little bit better in there. This light is very, very bright and kind of washes everything out. Whereas the light in the other room is less so. But that'll be next time. For now, we'll just stay in here and just work with what we got. Come up here, handing all this out. If they ever do an X-ray of this painting, they're going to have a nice surprise waiting for them on the back side of it because of the painting that we're painting over. The experiment that wasn't. There we go. All right, so that's the first layer done. And again, if I kind of cover up this light a little bit, you'll see that it's not completely covered yet. right? There's still a lot of the underpainting that's showing through, right? Just to give you an idea of just how much this light washes things out. It's a very bright light, surprisingly. But, hey. We'll just deal with it. Now, you don't want to paint on this much wet paint right away, because it's basically just going to start taking that paint off, right? So we just got to wait a minute, wait for this to dry. You know, try to make sure that our brush doesn't dry off, which if you want to do that, you can always wrap it in like a baggie of some kind, plastic wrap, just basically anything to prevent it from drying out. So, just like so. So just put that in there, and that should prevent it more or less from drying out while we wait for this paint to dry. So what I'm thinking of doing with this is, because we're doing something bright, I think I'm actually going to have a blue sky scene, which we haven't done that in a while. If at all, really. Yeah, it's going to be a nice blue sky, maybe like a beach scene or something. And then we'll abstract it from there. Yeah, this is kind of pretending that this is a pure white canvas, because again, it's not pure white yet. But pretending this is pure white canvas, this is usually where I just kind of like formulate what it is that I want to do with this particular piece. And I think I do know what I want to do with it. Oh, you know what? It's not going to be a blue sky scene. It is going to be white. It is going to be white, but it's going to be like a rainy type of scene in a parking lot with maybe like a lone light pole here. Like it'll be like a parking lot that's empty, with the exception of this light pole and like an old rusted out van or car or something that's parked next to it, doing absolutely nothing but just sitting there. It's got like flat tires and stuff. I think that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So once this dries up a bit, we're gonna add, instead of blue, we're gonna add a little bit of black and blue to the paint. You know, I can take these earphones out. I'm not stapling anything anymore. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a nice rainy day type scene. I think that'll be nice. Actually, while we're waiting, I will show you guys this, because this is what I was hoping for. Here, I'm gonna diffuse the light a little bit. Hopefully. Yeah, you stay there. Yeah. Okay. So, as you can see here on our canvas, our big canvas, with that spraying that we did, there's a few small wrinkles up like along the frame, but what you can do for that is actually you can spray up underneath the frame. Right, and then when you blow dry it, that'll take those wrinkles out. But as you can see, the wrinkles are more or less gone. Yeah, which is very, very nice. Here, I'll turn the camera this way, so there's a little bit more that you can see. But yeah, the wrinkles are more or less gone, and we've got like a nice tautness to the canvas. It's nice and tight. yeah. Like I said, like I'm gonna have to spray up underneath here to get some of these wrinkles out that are along the wood. Right. But all in all, really, without applying any sort of heat or anything, we were able to take out the wrinkles here, which is encouraging. And actually, I just realized that this is still looking a little washed out. So let me configure this light the way I had it before, just so that y'all know that I'm not lying. Okay, so there's the big bright light. And I'll put that in there. And that there. There. But yeah, it's I'll just bring the camera with me. Like I said, we're figuring this out. We got the painting part down, but now we're just trying to figure out some other stuff. So here's our canvas, and you can see up here there's still like a few like small little wrinkles, but overall this canvas is actually, all the other big wrinkles are gone. Which, again, yeah, if you just spray it with water, and you can either put weights on it, apply heat, or honestly, just leave it for a little bit and it'll take the wrinkles out. So, yeah. Let's turn back this way. Back toward our painting. And we're actually going to keep that diffusion on the light, I think. Camera back to where it was. I love it when your tools don't work with you like you want them to. There we go. Alright, so we will take out our brush. As you can see, things look a lot darker here, but you'll actually be able to better see what it is that I'm doing. We need some white. And this white is almost gone, actually. So, got to keep that in mind. I think I have more white in the bedroom, but this tube is almost done. So we got our white. Got the very last of this black paint. Squeeze out. There we go. I think that's about the last that we're going to get out of this tube. All right. Now we will get back to this. So grab some of that black. We don't want too much black or blue. We just kind of want to slightly wash out some of this white, but not too much. I want this to be a very light gray, diffusing into white. And we'll probably have to do a couple of layers of this as well, but that's okay. Because the stuff underneath is still a little bit wet. But that's okay, like I said. I wonder with this top light diffused, if this is gonna, if I turn this on and put the lampshade on, how does that, well, it's a little bit brighter. But again, these layers here don't have to be perfect by any means. Not perfect whatsoever. I'm just laying groundwork upon which we are going to do something fun. This is more akin to underpainting, like I've talked about before, which is just the layer below the painting that you're actually planning on doing. Just to sort of, it sort of tints everything. Sort of gives the feeling of what you want. And you might have seen there, basically if you paint on wet paint, sometimes that paint will pull up as you're brushing the new layer on. So you just want to be aware of that that's a thing that can happen. This is one of those streams where my painting pulled right out of the wall. But that's okay. All right. Where were we? We'll be a little gentler on this side because apparently this pin does not like this wall. So we'll have a bit of a softer touch. Okay, we need a little bit more white paint. So we'll go grab that. All right. And back to it. starting to pull out of the wall again. There we go. It's a very temperamental pin. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'll turn this light off and show you what just happened here. So you can see now we've got a much more even layer. There's still some spots that are kind of blotchy. So we're just gonna have to do 3 layers of paint here, which is perfectly fine. We're gonna have to wait for that to dry a little bit. So we'll wait a couple of minutes and we'll see how that is. And then if it's still too wet in a couple of minutes, I think we might actually just call the stream there, because to be honest, I thought stretching the canvas, which was going to be primarily what we were doing today, I thought it was going to take a lot longer. And the first initial steps of a painting like this, yeah, it just kind of, you're just kind of sitting around waiting for paint to dry, which is nobody's favorite thing to do. So we'll wait a couple of minutes, see if it's dry enough, and if it's still too wet to the touch, yeah, this might just be a shorter stream, and then we'll be back on Thursday and go from there. But for now, let me pull up the reference image that I think I want to use for this particular painting. It's one that I took in the city of Ajax not too long ago. So let's just pull that up on the old internet. Google Drive. Yeah, I hope everybody's enjoyed what they've seen so far. Yeah, it's been kind of an interesting one, a little different than what we have been doing, but I hope you've enjoyed it so far. All right, let me pull this up. Muted references. Yeah, I went out for a walk in Ajax on a very rainy day, and yeah, there it is. Let me just pull this up. I think this will be the perfect subject for this painting. I'll bring my computer around and show you all what it is that we're going to be doing with this. So that's the plan. You know, a very lonely light pole, a very lonely car. There's stuff in the background. I might even edit all that out. I might have a very basic store or something, but there's not going to be any other cars. We're just going to have an old, rusted out van or what have you. That's the plan for this painting. I think that'll look pretty good. Of course, I am biased, but let's see how we we'll try it. We'll try it. And if I notice the paint starting to pull up, then yeah, we'll just call this one early just so that we're not sitting here waiting for paint to dry. And then I'll probably do an extra 20 minutes on the next stream to make up for it. So far, so good. Ah, okay. Yeah. Now it's starting. The underlayers of painting are starting to pull up, and the new paint is basically what's happening is the new paint is pulling up the not quite dry layers of paint and just kind of letting you see the underpainting. It's almost like if you took your hand on wet paint and just went like that, you could see everything that was underneath it. So we're not going to bother with that. Yeah. So I'm sorry we're cutting things a little short here, but there's not much I can do with this until this base layer dries. So on Thursday, this will be dried. We'll be in our old spot again, where the lighting will be a little bit better, a little bit more cooperative. And we'll be able to do the initial layer, thin layer, with maybe a few clouds, but I think I'll just kind of keep it hazy instead of any defined clouds, because we really want the focal point to be the light pole and the vehicle. Yeah, so we'll do that next time. I hope you enjoyed what we did with the big canvas. I hope you learned something in terms of how to like stretch a canvas, especially a large canvas. Yeah, I hope it was informative. I hope you learned something, and hope you learned from my mistakes, like all the wrinkles and how to get those out, because it's not impossible to fix that. But yeah, next time we'll have more of a blast on this painting here, and yeah, we'll get it cooking. So thank you again, everybody, for joining in. I really, really do appreciate everybody who decides to hop on my channel and watch what we're doing, you know, because this is kind of a new channel and we're just kind of finding our way here. But I really do appreciate it, and hopefully next time we'll have some more fun with this bad boy here. All right, so everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we will see you same time on Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Actually, it'll be 8:20. Like I said, we'll make up for the 20 minutes that we're losing today. But yeah, everybody have a wonderful evening and a wonderful Wednesday, and we will see you on Thursday. All right, take it easy, everybody.